It's time to dive beneath the surface and into the minds and hearts of your favorite celebrities and pop culture icons. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hi, guys. Welcome back, and look who I have here. Let me pull my mic up a little bit. Good morning, RJ.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm pretty well. How are you doing?
Woo! I told you I'm having a little bit of a day today. I'm having a little bit of a day, but that's okay because my day started off one way, and now I'm about to turn it around because we're sitting here together. We're going to talk Real Housewives of Atlanta. We're going to talk about getting LaToya's ass out of here, and yeah, we're going to break it down. And I don't skip a beat. I brought the shady mirror of shade.
Okay, look.
It's so appropriate for today.
I'm so glad that you brought the mirror because that is going to make everything so much better.
Oh my gosh. Seriously. You're right. I feel a little bit better already.
Yes.
Woo! People getting on my nerves today.
We gotta transmute that negative energy out of here.
Yes. We'll zen it out. Okay. All right, RJ. So I guess let's jump right into it. This was an interesting episode, and if any of the rest of the season disappointed us, this episode absolutely did not. I mean, the end of it was crazy. Yes. We know that I did my interview with Fallon. When I talked to Fallon, she was an absolute sweetheart. I didn't realize she was only 31 years old, which is crazy. She's so young.
I know. I gagged when she said her age. I was like, oh shit, she's really young.
Yeah, I was like, you're really young. Yeah. And just when I was talking to her, she's like, you'll see a little bit of me throughout the season. And yeah, if they invite me back next season, I would love to have a peach. And I'm like, girl, you really held back. You didn't tell us that you were running, like Drew said, a quarterback for the Chicago Bears or something, or running back, whatever she said. And I was like,
I'm nervous to talk about that because we haven't got there yet. So I don't even want to talk about that because I have a lot to say about that.
Okay. So we'll start off with Kenya Moore meeting up with Marlo Hampton and Fallon. That's how we started this episode.
Yes.
Marlo is starting a new boutique where she's renting out her designer clothes, which is interesting, I guess. But I'm kind of with Kenya on this. I'm not going to lie. When Kenya's like, we don't need all of these. Well, what did Kenya say? She said something about the women out in these streets having WAPs, putting them inside of her designer clothes. I was like, ugh.
Okay. So am I understanding this correctly? She's lending the clothes just so they can wear them and bring them back?
Yes. So almost like you rent the clothes, then you get them cleaned, or maybe even Marlo dry cleans them. I'm not sure. And then you give them back.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. I don't want to listen, growing up, I had a lot of hand-me-downs. Like I had older brothers, so it was easier to give me the clothes from my older brothers and stuff like that. And my parents bought me my own clothes too. So I wasn't like deprived or anything, but it just kind of was always like, man, why do I have to wear their old clothes? And I know that these aren't Marlo's old clothes. They're still designer clothes, but she's still worn them. Atlanta is still hot as hell. You're still sweating in them. You're still, you know what I mean? Like
other people will wear them as well. I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand the concept.
I'm not sure either, because to be honest with you, I sweat really bad, which is like super gross. Like if I go out and it's hot, and the first thing that sweats is right here on me. And Jason won't even let me wear his shirts. We're almost the same size, and he won't let me wear his shirts because he's like, you're ruining my clothes because you dirty little hamster, you sweat. And I'm like, I'm sorry. So now he has his side of the closet and I have my side of the closet. And he buys nice clothes. I have no fashion. That's why my whole side of the closet looks depressing and black V-necks, and his side is like, taste the rainbow. You know? I don't get it though. I'm not. Marlo's trying. Listen, what I have to give her credit for is the woman is trying. She's trying to be a businesswoman. Yes. She's trying, but somewhere out there in the Housewives universe, Nene Leakes is laughing and she's like, girl, nobody's wearing your dirty old clothes. And I'm like, Nene, you're probably right about that.
Somebody might though. I think somewhere down the line, I mean, you make a lot of the times businesses arise because there's a need for something. Maybe she's heard it over and over and over again. Maybe you should start this because, oh girl, I would love to get in your clothes. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, but maybe like take a page from the Kardashians. Like Kardashians have the Kardashian closet where they will wear something once. You'll never catch them in it again unless it's Kim and her Skims. You never catch them in it again. And then they post it on Kardashian Closet with the tags, or sometimes they don't even wear the clothes. They just have people who send them to them. They keep them and they resell them on their Kardashian Closet, but they resell them.
Right.
That's different. Like kind of like Rebag. You get a new handbag that was somebody else's, but it's still in amazing condition. Even like I would take Goodwill over this. And I know that sounds so shady, but Goodwill, at least I'm getting it. I get to keep it and I don't have to worry about somebody else wearing it and then giving it back. I mean, even though they already wore it, I don't know. I'm just confused. I don't love the idea.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, girl, like, I mean, like, what do you say to that? Like, oh, Marlo, is the Gucci outfit out? Like, when is that coming back in, from the other person? When can I get that? I mean, it's just kind of like
she's like, well, Jennifer's wearing it right now. She's out at a pool party over in Atlanta, and it's 105 degrees right now. But don't worry, girl, we're gonna get it clean. It's gonna be brand new and pressed, and then you'll get to wear it next week.
But I wish her the best. I wish her the best. She felt like there was a need for this, so I wish her the best.
Yes. Okay. We can't. You're right. She had this little pop-up boutique. She's trying. Again, you can't. There's people out here who aren't trying to do shit. So to be honest with you, this is a step in the right direction. Yes. So good for you, Marlo. We'll leave you alone, but we will be back to talk about this. Well, if she continues to make this a storyline, we will be back. Okay. Watch, we laugh at it now, or I'm laughing at it now. She's going to be like the next Bethany Frankel who's selling her business idea for like $100 million.
Right.
Okay. Well, moving on, Drew Sidora is gearing up because her agent gave her a call and said that, hey, we have a job for you in New Orleans. So she's talking to her mom about it. And Pastor Jeanette is kind of reminiscing back in her day of being around New Orleans and how she was adopted and how she was a Black woman living in a white home. It was interesting, though, her take. And I can't even believe it's just kind of, it's amazing to see how far, I guess, we've evolved, but then also we have so much more, we have a lot more to go. But it's kind of sad to think that she grew up in a white family, and when they would go out to dinners or go out to restaurants, she wasn't allowed to use the bathroom. What kind of ridiculous shit is that?
And it wasn't even that long ago.
It wasn't even that long ago. That makes you like disgusted.
Yeah.
I mean, it just made me sad for her, but one thing I do, or I can kind of understand, which has nothing to do with that, it's the fact that Pastor Jeanette was adopted and she grew up with this family. Well, when Drew Sidora wants to know about her real family tree, her biological family tree, she wants to know who her biological grandfather is. But Pastor Jeanette does not. She's like, I have my family. My family treated me good. That was the family I grew up with. I don't care about this other family. Right. I don't want to know anything about them, which is so interesting to me because my uncle was adopted and he's Costa Rican. My mother was also adopted. And my mom wanted to know ever since she was like 13 years old, who was my family. It like broke her heart because she just felt like she didn't belong. And then finally, a few years ago, Jason and I did some real searching and we found her brothers, her sisters, my grandfather this past year who does the show with me on Fridays. Like, it's just been an amazing outcome. Whereas my uncle, he says, even though that my grandparents they've passed away now, and he has no family left except us, his nephews. He doesn't talk to my mom. He doesn't want to know who his Costa Rican family is. He's like, my family raised me. Whoever gave me away, I don't want to know anything about them. And it's interesting because people, when you're adopted, you're really divided on that.
Yeah, I've had a few life experiences where that's happened, and usually though 9 times out of 10 the person would like to know,
right,
where they come from, but sometimes they don't, and that's their choice.
And sometimes even for just health reasons, like my mom had breast cancer. She wanted to know where that came from. And then come to find out her mother passed away from breast cancer. So sometimes you really do need to know these things because it kind of gives you, it can't prevent it, but it can give you a heads up so you can do your proper checkups, which you should be doing anyways, and kind of know that, hey, this is somewhere in the blood. I need to keep an eye on this to make sure that I stay fit and healthy. Right.
Yeah. And genetics are cool. I mean, to know where you come from or know where, you know, who your biological folks are is interesting. You know, you find out that you got a lot of things in common with these people, and you know, you might do things or you might have done things and you're like, oh my God, they do the same thing. Like it's cool. It's cool. But like some people don't feel the need to have that. And that's fine too.
I
That's
agree.
fine. So
No, I agree. I think it's just subjective. It's to whoever the person is and how they want to walk through life and kind of navigate that. It can't be an easy situation. But you know what? I have to just repeat this because my dad used to always say it to my mom. I was born into my family. They got stuck with my ass. I'm here. Hi, mom and dad. I'm here. They made me. But also, if you're adopted, that's so much more special because you're chosen.
yes.
You know what I mean? So that's a beautiful thing. And you can't, you're going to get, damn mirrors getting me all choked up over here.
I know. It's
All right.
a touchy subject. It's a touchy
Yeah.
subject. And obviously you can relate. I can relate. My family as well. So it's touchy. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. Actually, let's kind of stay with Drew for a second because she's kind of dealing with her own thing. Her son isn't necessarily adopted, Josiah, but his old daddy, as she likes to call him, is coming out of jail and he wants to develop a relationship with his 9-year-old son. Well, up until recently, the 9-year-old son considered Ralph, Drew's husband, his dad. And that's what he knows now in his life. And that's what he's comfortable with. So she has to sit down and have the tough conversation with him and say, hey, listen, you know, like your old daddy wants to forge this relationship with you. Are you interested? And just watching the poor kid, like, first of all, knowing what we know, right? There's 4 cameras in his face.
Right.
This is such an awkward conversation to have, especially for a kid. And then you have like all of these people staring at you, waiting to see how you react. You have a boom mic over you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the kid's like, no, I don't want to get to know him. And Ralph's like trying to explain. And I didn't really like Ralph up until this point, but I have a lot of respect for him because he's doing the right thing.
Yes.
It's something that, you know, they should sort of, he's still young. He's 9 years old. You know, maybe when he's 30, if he still decided not to have a relationship with his dad, he might look back and be like, damn it, man. Whereas like now we might be able to nip this in the butt. And then the rest of his life, he might be able to have a fruitful, amazing relationship with his biological father while also respecting and understanding that Ralph plays that father role too.
Right. Yeah. That, you know, for my brother, that was the case for him because his father wasn't in his life, but my father was in my life, and my father was with my mother up until I was about 17. So, you know, my father kind of fulfilled that role, and to my brother, that was all he knew, and that was just that.
Yeah.
I really, like you said, I kind of sense early on. I don't know if you remember my commentary on Ralph. I thought that, you know, he was a decent person, and I thought that we would see more good from him, and we are, and especially in this situation. And I like the fact that he gently kind of pushed Josiah in the way of like, okay, like it's okay, like I know you're being loyal to me, but it's okay to also know someone else who is your actual father as well. And that's what I felt like he did, because I felt like Josiah in the beginning was just like, okay, well, I could just tell in his eyes, like my loyalty is to my daddy right there.
Oh, this is gonna get me choked up. Yeah.
You could tell, but then Ralph was just like, in his own little way, it's okay, you know, it's all right.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, I think we could both agree that it just gives us a little bit more of a respect for Ralph, because Ralph did come into the season with a bang. And he definitely was not a fan favorite, especially the way he was treating his wife, disappearing, not telling us what hotel he was staying in or who he was with. Well, not really us, but his wife, and then keeping eyes on her all over the place. You know, he did come in rocky, but okay, you're redeeming yourself, Ralph. We see you.
It totally seems as if his father's passing was the straw that broke the camel's back, because to us, when it comes to you know, on camera, it totally everything shifted. Like his energy shifted after his father's passing. But yeah, he's totally on the ball here.
Well, we have Naomi in here, and she said, I thought it was so wrong of Drew to do this. She said that she felt like Drew did this for a storyline. It's down here, like, how dare they do that for a storyline? Naomi, while I respect what you're saying, and I guess you can kind of teeter on that, I kind of think in my own head, you know, when these housewives sign up, sure, it shouldn't be at the detriment of their children at all. But when they sign up to share real moments that are happening in their real lives. Now, we do get the contrived, fake, pre-produced storylines every once in a while. And usually those are just the arguments between the ladies. But what's going on at home, like with Kenya, who's going through a divorce and trying to deal with custody and navigate that. And then you have LaToya is just a wreck. But you know what I mean? Like going through and trying to navigate your everyday life, and you choose to share that before the women actually sit down. Well, before they get casted, they have to sit down with a panel of people and producers, and they have to say, what is coming up over the next few months, over the next year? Will they be getting married? Are there big moments coming? And this might have been one of the big moments that Drew wrote down, aside from her husband wandering around. You know, this might have been one of the moments, and she might have had to share it. It's weird.
The thing about it is, from the commenter, I could see how you might think that Drew sharing this story of her son's biological father might be wrong. But honestly, I think that it was needed. You have no idea on how many levels people can relate to with this story.
Yeah, and it might help another set of parents who, that's not an easy conversation. So this might help another set of parents who might be, Drew and Ralph are not the only people in the world dealing with this. You know, there are a ton of families out there who have mothers and fathers coming out of penitentiaries or coming out of anything. You know what I mean? It's very common.
Yeah, conversations like this are real. These happen. And I applaud Drew and Ralph for being able to show this. And you know, like I said, this happens all the time. These conversations happen, and to see it play out on the show, it's very relatable and very touching at the same time.
I agree. And before we move on, guys, if you haven't already, nice little segue here, smash that like button. Let's get some more eyes in the room. I want to move on while keeping it about Drew, only because Drew FaceTime Cynthia. Cynthia's sitting down with her new husband. She's officially Mrs. Chill, as she likes to call it. She calls whatever, Miss Hill, Miss Chill. She likes to, she goes with both, really. She has the earrings and everything to match. But, you know, she FaceTimes Cynthia while Cynthia's on a cute little date with her husband. And she just lets her know, hey, girl, I want to plan a trip. So I have this opportunity in New Orleans. I think it'd be really fun. And Ralph got us a private jet. So I'm going to show you ladies how a real host does it, as opposed to selfish Kenya over here, who gets a private jet just for her and LaToya, who now she probably regrets because LaToya wasn't even loyal to her in the first place.
Right.
It's like a roller coaster you can't get off.
An answer.
Oh my gosh. Well, speaking of Mike and Cynthia, I thought it was kind of interesting, the fact that they're having this conversation. Right now, they live in Porter Ranch, California. So if anyone doesn't know where Porter Ranch is, it's like the outskirts of Los Angeles. It's like as far as you can go before you're actually in Ventura County or a different county. It's really far out there. So it's a lot cheaper than living in West Hollywood, Beverly Hills, Sherman Oaks, or any place like that. But owning a house in California is expensive as hell. So if you do, listen, I'm not knocking them at all. And Mike's house in Porter Ranch is also beautiful. But they're having the conversation about him liking Atlanta and them possibly getting a new house together. As much as he loves Lake Bailey, I understand as a person entering a new relationship, he wants to build a home together with her because he feels like he's coming into her space. But what I thought was interesting here is that he wants to do it in Atlanta, because I thought with this season, we were sort of wrapping up Cynthia, wrapping up her time on the show, her storyline, because we've seen her get married, divorced. Now she's married again. She kind of has her happy ending, and she's sort of phasing out of the show as far as being a fan favorite. People love her because she's still that supermodel. She has an infectious personality, but she's not technically bringing as much of a storyline as some of the other women.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering in my head, and I want to ask you this, do you feel like her husband, Mike, and her want to get a new house in Atlanta in order to secure their roots there and maintain her position on the show? Or do you think it's just happens to be a coincidence and yeah, they like Atlanta?
It's not a coincidence. They want to secure the
He
bag.
wants that paycheck. He wants Cynthia Bailey's Real Housewives of Atlanta paycheck because we know that that's a nice paycheck. She's making over $500,000 a year. Not to mention her endorsements, her brand ambassador programs, her Bailey wine cellar, her little modeling school. Cynthia's bringing in some money.
Yeah. It's definitely to secure the bag. I could just imagine them having a conversation like, and he's just like, all right, babe, we don't have to get a house in Cali. We could just get a house here, and I'll get it, and it'll be bigger, and you can just stay here and be on the show.
And it gives them more of a storyline too, because then we'll see that on the next season. There'll be house shopping, or they'll open, and she'll be like, "Oh yes, this is our beautiful new house, but it's so big. It's so big, and we have to decorate it, and we're gonna have a housewarming party. And hey, Cynthia's on the come up." Like I could see it already.
And like Cynthia being on the come up is actually enticing. So that's enticing, because like her house now it's a modest home, right?
Right.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's still for anyone watching, it's still a big, beautiful home sitting right on a lake. Like it's still
it's just her by herself.
Right.
Or was just her by herself. So I can only imagine what this house is going to look like. Because when he said bigger, I don't know. Like in my mind, I was just like, he's talking about like probably like a mini mansion or a mansion.
He's talking about Kandi Burruss style.
Yeah.
Okay. Ralph, or not Ralph, Mike, you better pull out that paycheck. But I have a feeling Cynthia's so smitten, she would honestly just pay for the house by herself in order to keep her husband. Like you could tell. Like she said, I would live in a tent with him.
In a tent. Yes, girl. And look, that's how, I don't know about you, but that's how I would feel too, honestly.
All right. Well, I know that I mentioned Kandi, and we have to applaud her because she has this new movie role that she's trying to get her body all snatched for. She's getting ready, just like Drew Sidora. I love watching when the women actually have real shit going on. You know what I mean? Like they're doing real things out there. They're using their public figure and their celebrity, not only to help and give back, which I love seeing, which Kandi does, but also seeing them and kind of hitting these milestones where they get new opportunities and they're branching out and they're not just housewives, but they're working women. I love to see that.
Bosses.
Kandi never disappoints either. I wonder how many LLCs and patents she has.
Oh, Lordy Jesus. That's a really good question.
I bet you she has so many LLCs that Monique's binder wouldn't even be able to close on it. You know what I mean? Be like,
let me tell you, I know it's a long list.
It's a long list.
Everything into a business.
All right. Well, we also know that at Marlo's little pop-up sweatshop thing, whatever that was, I don't know, the rebirth of clothes, whatever you want to call it, Fallon invited the ladies to her Halloween party. Now, Fallon did say that she was doing the whole house as a haunted house. It didn't really seem like it. It seemed like maybe like the foyer. Yeah. Is that what it's called? A foyer?
Yeah.
Or is it called a foyer?
I think it's the foyer.
Okay. I mean, in Tennessee, they'll be like, "Oh, look at this foyer." I'm like, "Oh, that's a nice foyer." Okay. Foyer. Hey, and I can say that I lived in Tennessee, but no, foyer. It kind of seemed like it was her main walk-in entrance that was all done up. And she went the extra mile to make it this fun little haunted house where people are grabbing you. Someone's greeting you at the front door. I do have to say, though, as ignorant and rude, disrespectful, and just out of line as LaToya was, one thing I kind of agree with is if you're going to host a party, maybe if you're going to spend all this money on all these other people, maybe you shouldn't have a chef or just one person on standby who's making drinks like a little bartender or something. I don't think that's not crazy expensive.
Yeah, that would have been nice to have at least one person.
Yeah, you're talking, okay. I mean, she said, my empire, you have a private jet, your house is big and beautiful, your man's got money, we can get a chef.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah, she obviously hasn't watched the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Because these women, especially Kandi, they love their food. Like Candy's always talking about, she's like, I don't care what this place looks like. I don't care if you put me in a like just make sure my food is good.
Good, okay, that's
Yeah.
all that matters. But no, I think Fallon is probably now hip to what she has to do to to impress these ladies. But yeah, like I would have definitely thought, especially for the occasion, like you just want to spend time with your friends and not have to worry about getting up and doing things. You just want to kind of be relaxed with them. So I would definitely got at least one person to help around and
I mean, you have 6 kids. Dress one of them up in a little Halloween costume. Act like you hired somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
All right. Well, Heather Galinda said, where's the mirror, honey? I feel the shade coming. Oh, Heather, we're not disappointing. The shade is coming because we're about to jump in on this LaToya Ali shit. And this, I think, pissed off a lot of people. This was just honestly, it was such a new level of ridiculousness. I want to jump into it. But before we do, I want to ask you, aside from Fallon, I think Fallon had the best Halloween costume. How would you rate the women as far as Halloween costumes? Who, in order from best to worst?
Okay, so yeah, Fallon definitely hands down had the best, most,
I mean, it was out there. It was great.
It was, yeah, you could tell it really took a lot of time and effort, and she really went in with that. So I would say that's number one.
Okay, one.
I would say Kandi's Cats was number two.
Okay.
I would say I really love Shamia's astronaut outfit.
I was going to go with Drew Sidora. With that little, I mean, it looked like her cat face was peeling off a little bit. I'm not going to lie. It looked a little bootleg, but she tried.
No, I mean, the effort and everything was nice, but I really loved the astronaut outfit.
Okay.
The thing about it is, like, I'm doing comparisons in my mind between Kandi's cats and Drew's cats. So Kandi's cats oh, wow. So to me, okay, this is cool. Yeah. So to me, I compared Kandi's and Drew's cats because they were both cats. And to me, Kandi's was a banger. So then next for me is Shamia's astronaut outfit, and then Drew. And then, of course, it goes down from there.
Right. And then I would say, even though LaToya acted like a jerk, I would say then LaToya. I think the one who tried the least would probably have to be Porsha. And I think the person who really disappointed everybody was probably Kenya. And Kenya did come out with a tweet saying, listen, I have Native American in my blood. Stop trying to come for me. You guys are trying to make something out of something it's not. But a lot of people were pissed. They were like, this is cultural appropriation, and even Drew Sidora said it on the show. She's like, am I the only one who sees her outfit as being problematic? And help me out here.
I mean, the child said that she has Native American in her blood. I don't know. I mean, how does one be okay with wearing something if they're part that? I don't know.
Okay. I mean, this is such a fine line to walk to. Like, I guess, if this is part of your heritage and you're dressing up, but she was calling it a warrior princess too. Girl, that was not a warrior princess. You came not a warrior princess.
I know that if you're part Native American or whatever, you have a card. I don't know if she has that card, but if she does, then
you better come out with your card and your receipt because people are really pissed off about that.
Yeah. I can see why.
Okay. Well, again, that's such a fine line that I don't even want to really touch that. The mirror would touch that, but we don't have enough time for the mirror to rip that part.
Yeah,
the mirror would.
Like, I don't even, like, I don't know. Like, I it's just like, there's rules and stuff that I don't even know. Like, I'm just like, I don't know what
you can do and what you can't do.
I don't know what gives you the green light.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just kind of skip forward to what we came here to talk about. And you already know this. You know what the big bang of this episode was. Guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button. RJ and I are about to break down this argument. Who was right? Who was wrong? How LaToya came into the party. LaToya showed up. She said she got hit by a rock. And I think she did, the way that she was acting. She might have got hit by something, coming in there acting all crazy and talking out of the side of her face. And then she sits down and she says, oh, look at this house. So this is what dating or marrying a 65-year-old gets you. I would have literally dragged her out of my house right there. I would have been like, you're going to come in here disrespecting me like that? But she didn't stop there. She came in and said, I want a drink. And someone needs to serve me in this big house with this big kitchen. Nobody over here cooking, having food. I want a drink. And Fallon's response, I thought it was appropriate. This is not how rich people act. This is how broke people act. So I was like, well, honestly, LaToya, you deserve that shade. But LaToya's ready for it. You can tell she comes in. Yeah. She gears herself up and gets herself kind of, I'm ready. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to start ripping into every single person. She didn't just spit that out. She knew she was going to come in there and be shady.
Right. Right. She definitely was, in her mind, well-equipped to spew all of that negativity. It was highly inappropriate. She would have probably had to exit from that first statement that she said. If I was Fallon, she would have probably had to exit right then and there. How dare you? How dare you?
Oh, I mean, and then she says, like, girl, you were from the hood, but you came up. That's okay. You came up. And she didn't stop at Fallon. She goes over to Drew Sidora, talks about her love-hate relationship. She has a conversation with Kenya where Kenya tells her she's not loyal. And she gets amped up and she's like, I'm Trinidadian. We talk loud. Because Kenya was like, girl, don't yell in my face. And she was really making her rounds, pissing everyone off. And Kandi was the one who originally brought her in the group. But Kandi and Shamia even said at the table, like, you can't come in here and compliment someone and then also throw shade at them. What are you doing?
Right. Yeah, I think that the things that she was doing was well thought out at all. I don't think that it was thought out, just not well thought out. Yeah, just not well thought out at all. I don't think that she's that calculating. I think she's just that bonkers. I think she's just that bonkers.
Shan said she has to stop using being Trini as an excuse.
Right.
And if you guys remember so she goes outside and has a conversation with Porsha because Kenya won't walk LaToya out. LaToya says the party was boring, which, I mean, I really don't know what Fallon invited them all over to do unless it was to just sit there and have like a girls' time and shoot the shit and just have some drinks, which is kind of the same thing Shamia did, you know, except Shamia had games. Fallon didn't even have games, or maybe we just didn't get to him because Fallon was about to bash LaToya's head in with this golf club. I don't know.
True. I think there was some more things planned, but then that happened.
Okay. And I was actually shocked to see how many people were grabbing onto Fallon. It really kind of puts in perspective how many people are off to the side that we don't get to see on the actual show. I mean, they were like coming onto her, like grabbing her. And then she ended up pulling a Monique run. She ran remember when Monique ran after Candace and she ran around and she's like, you're not going to stop me. So runs the other way. I was like, shit. And then they're all like, they hear screaming and then they see Fallon running like a little running around the table. Wow, this put me in a good mood. My morning was such shit. This made me feel so much better talking about this.
Oh my gosh. Her running across that kitchen floor had my blood pressure up. I was like, oh my God, because they were drinking and you know, who, God knows, somebody spilled something. If she would have slipped, that would have been so fucking bad.
Oh, that would have been so bad.
On the kitchen floor and just slipping, because that's happened to me before. So I'm just like, oh girl, slow down. But she was ready for blood.
She was ready for blood. And when Porsha was telling LaToya, she's like pretty much telling her, listen, like, I think you messed up with Kenya. You shouldn't have put her business out there. LaToya came up with this kind of BS excuse saying, well, I think Kenya's really upset with me because you and I kissed. That's not why she's upset with you. She's upset with you because you're putting out her business. So let's just clear that up. But as Fallon comes out, she continues to shade her, and then she keeps going. Then she gets in her car. She's calling her a hoe. She's saying that she has 3 different baby daddies. She's commenting on the bags under her eyes. I mean, Fallon's a beautiful girl, so I don't know why LaToya is like making her seem like she's not. Commenting on the bags on her eyes and just going and going and going, saying like, you don't own this house, you don't own these plates, this ain't yours. It's like, how disrespectful could you be? And then she's not done. She gets in the car and then she gets back out and she's like, like dancing like she's putting on a show. It's like, for who are you putting on a show? Who are you performing for, LaToya? Because this woman is about to beat your ass, just to be fair. And I don't condone violence or anything like that. But she took Fallon, someone who we've only seen be soft-spoken, sweet, nice. She took her from 0 to 150 so quick, it wasn't even funny.
And the thing about it is, it wasn't even the fact that it was so quick. You know, LaToya's been picking on Fallon from the jump since Fallon stepped into the scene on this show. And she's continued to antagonize, And, you know, you see Fallon get to a point where a lot of people get to after being picked on enough. You're only human and everybody has their limits. And once she brought up, you know, it's one thing to be disrespecting in your home. That's a huge no, get your ass out in the first place. But then you put my kids in it by saying that they have 3 different baby daddies. Yeah, now that's when I would have been like, what? The
mirror of shade would have cracked somebody in the head. You start talking about I don't even have kids for a reason because I don't want to go busting heads when people tell me.
I'm not saying that I would have cracked her in the head with a golf.
No, I'm not saying that either. I don't think Fallon would have actually. I think Fallon was using that. Listen, Fallon was pissed, but she's not stupid. She's not going to crack somebody in the head with a golf club, you know. But she was pissed, and
I would have been like, if she would have, you know, brought my kids up in the way that she did in that sentence, I would have said, you need to leave.
Yes.
But you know, it would have been like, you need to, like, it would have been like a nasty, you need to leave.
Yeah. Like you need to leave or I'm going to drag you.
Yes.
Mermaid.
Yes. Yeah. Don't bring my kids into a boo, because then that's a whole nother layer of stuff that you don't want.
All right. Well, this again was a crazy episode. One thing I want to say before we go, guys, I'm going to be going on today with Kempire. I'm going on Kempire's podcast. I'm not quite sure when Kempire is going to be posting the podcast, but it's going to be really exciting. You guys have to check it out. I just wanted to point out, I love when the housewives in real life tweet when they're watching the episodes. Now, LaToya is no housewife, but she was tweeting last night and she's like, girl, you kicked me out of your man's house and whatever, you can even give us one of your man's dishes and blah, blah, blah. And Fallon, she was still picking a fight with Fallon. And Fallon just went on to tell her, listen, next time you're pretty much, this wasn't verbatim, but she's like, anytime your broke ass is around, if you want a plate, girl, I'll give you a plate because you're hungry as hell. And I was like, whoop, go on, Fallon. I like this shady Fallon. I don't like golf club swinging, I'm going to beat your ass, Fallon, but I like shady Fallon.
You know, she brought her, Miss Thing, LaToya brought her to that point. How many times would you let somebody disrespect you in your own home and then bring up, you know, your kids in that side ass comment? Yeah, only once, right? Then you gotta go.
You
gotta go.
I've kicked people out of my home for way less, and I'm not even kidding. I've done it. I've kicked people out of my home 4 times in the last 8 months. So
I'm gonna tell you a mini story really quick.
Yeah.
My ex, years ago, we had company and there was somebody there antagonizing our guests. He antagonized everybody for no reason. And then he started picking on one of my female friends. And then it just got to the point, like she was handling herself, but then it got to the point where I was just like, dude, you gotta go. And so then he was drunk or whatever. So he got in my face. He was like, you don't tell me, he cursed at me. He was like, you don't tell me what to do. And the next thing I know, my ex-boyfriend came, he pushed me out the way and he kicked his ass. He did. Because he was, I mean, Adam, this went on all night. Don't antagonize my guests.
You just can't. You listen, be careful. If you're gonna pick at somebody, just know for every action there's a reaction, and you don't know how someone's going to react. So that's
and then you know, he's ripping my female friends apart, talking big feet and your dicks and that and this and that. Oh gosh, no, you cannot. No.
You have to be respectful. Just be respectful. It's not that hard, guys. Just walk through life and show respect. Appreciate people. If you don't like somebody, walk away. Don't engage. That's it. All right. All right, RJ. Well, that's enough about that episode. Rumor is LaToya is becoming super problematic for the cast. Nobody is wanting to film with her. They're saying right now that it's almost like when Giovanna was on the Real Housewives of Atlanta and Snakegate. She phased herself out because nobody wanted to be around her. Same thing with Brandi Glanville and Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We'll see what happens. But RJ, before we go, can you let us know where we can find you?
Yes. So I'm here on YouTube, RJ Allan, and then I'm on Instagram. I'm not back yet from my little social media break, but I'm on Instagram, rj.allan. So.
All right. Well, you take your healthy social media break, and I'm going to go jump on with Kempire on Kempire's podcast. And RJ, you look amazing today. I didn't tell you that at the beginning. I hope you have an amazing day. You look shiny. This is a great way to start your day. I wish I started it that way because my day started like shit. But now I feel better. Thank you for putting me in a great mood.
Oh, Adam, thank you, hon.
All right. We'll see you soon, RJ. Did you pause?
I'm back.
Oh, okay. We'll see you soon.
Okay, love. Have a good show.
You too. Oh, well, have a good day. All right, guys, that's RJ. You're going to have to go follow him, RJ.ALLAN. Don't ever forget the dot, not when it comes to his Instagram. But if you want to find him on YouTube, just forget the dot because it doesn't matter. He's RJ Allan. He's amazing. Go follow him. Love this guy. And also, I'll see you guys soon. I'm going to be doing a Below Deck recap today with Fem Tarot and also Jason. And then we're going to be doing lightning round tarot readings. It's going to be around 2:15 Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys are around, call in, join the fun, give us a call, ask some questions, and we'll see you then. Bye, guys.